Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and welcome to Italy. It's the first of two race meetings at the famous country, and starting off today we are not too far away from Bologna in Italy, and for the fifth race meeting of the season in the World GT Championship. Races 11, 12 and 13 coming your way today before we head to Monza near Milan for the Enduro race next week. In the commentary box then for this race today, or three races that we've got coming up today, it's me, Adam Bath, and Sam Fitzpatrick. Sam, welcome. Imola, it's one of the newer tracks on the iRacing service, and one venue I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be tough on the brakes, and we've got, of course, the really long straight coming from the second Ravazza all the way down to the Tamburello. So with a bit of luck, there'll be a bit of slipstreaming and a bit of overtaking too.
Yes, absolutely. This circuit gained a bit of a reputation, I believe, in Formula 1. It was a little bit before my time. Of being impossible to overtake. They, of course, got rid of that silly chicane they had at the end of the circuit. And yeah, it does extend a little bit longer now, but no doubt overtaking will be quite difficult. And that turn one as well, it narrows so much on the entry. You got a little bit of a curve as well. And so we could see a few incidents down there. But no, I love the racecraft around this place. You really got to catch the other driver unawares. And, you know, it's one of the best circuits in the world to make laps around.
Championship standings will run you through just before we get into the nitty-gritty that is qualifying here for the first race. So Mark Fletcher leads the way in the points. More on him in a moment. He's got a 35-point advantage over Christian Challener in second. Then it's Kai Janssen in third, just under 100 points behind. And it's Camilleri in fourth, Brian Lockwood in fifth, Gazalban in sixth, and then 6 points behind him, Michael Evdoka. Then it's Christian Rose, Richard Gafenko up 6 spots after the previous race meeting at Zolder. Maxim Brilliant in 10th. Moving over to the Pro-Am category, it's Mark Woodhouse. There's a slender 12-point lead over Chris Word. And then it's Michael Blake in 3rd, Matt Bowman 4th, and Ethan Bass in 5th. Interestingly, it's two teammates at the top two in the Pro-Am category. And then moving over to the team standings, no surprises really to see Radicals Online Motaf leading the way there. Then it's KC Racing Esports in second. Radicals Online Turn Racing down 2 places to third. They were championship leaders. They're now in third, just 42 points behind. So really, that is incredibly tight in the team standings. And then it's TX3 by Thrustmaster, TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport in fifth, just 153 points, by the way, covering the top 5. And then it's CQR Club in 6th, and then Team Mad and Nomad Sim Racing White, a Pro-Am team and a Pro team, both joint 7th. On 592 points, so quite a lot of battles going on in the team's championship too. And believe it or not, I believe Ash Sutton is actually top of the safest driver standings. However, he only has started 2 races, so read that into that what you will. But Mark Fletcher, we just mentioned him at the beginning of this. Sam not here today. Probably got a good reason for it though. I don't want him going beyond the call of duty, but he is ill today.
Yes, that's that chronic illness to racing car drivers, that is being ill. So poor him. And he's going to miss this round. 15 rounds this season, or 15 meetings. He can drop one of them. And so far, Mark has been absolutely superb this season. And so I think as long as he can put together some good rounds going to the end of the season, he's still going to have a very good chance at the championship. But it almost guarantees that we're going to have Challener or Janssen, or maybe even Camilleri as well, top of the championship in terms of the pure points at least, coming out to this round. So a fantastic opportunity for them. And yeah, Fletcher will hopefully be watching the stream right now. If he is, then you know, I imagine he will be wishing some more ill, not just on himself, but on his rivals as well.
So qualifying going on at the moment, we're about halfway through. The first runs have been completed. If we can get the best lap times up on the screen now, it's Brian Lockwood that leads the way, 1:36.996. The only driver to get into the 1:36s, as most of the field comes back to the pits. We have got Sharon Kaiser on a hot lap. Yeah, oh, well, he was on a hot lap. He's crashed on the exit of the Ravazza, which means we'll pick up Pete Newman in the CQR PNM with Lizard. He's coming to the line now. We've got the new paints as well for this week. He's going to cross the line. He was P22. He improves, but he stays P22 with a 38.442 there. So decent lap from him. And as you can see, the top 10, most of them are coming back out onto the circuit, getting their out laps done and getting ready to go again. It is one of the shorter laps on the calendar here, just over 90 seconds. When Formula 1 came here, it was 62 laps or so around here. So it's pretty quick around here, especially with the Variante Bassa chicane removed. It is a straight out blast from Ravazza down to Tamburello. It does mean that the Tamburello chicane is more of an overtaking point than it was when Formula 1 last raced here back in 2006. So looking forward to this one. World Touring Cars was pretty good here back in the day. And hopefully the TCR series will come here too when that series gets up and running in a couple of weeks when the new build is set to land. Apparently, I believe the TCR car is meant to be arriving, but yeah, that's the state of play as Brian Lockwood, the pole sitter, provisional pole sitter Sam, comes out to start an outlap.
Yes, as one of the admins of a TCR series, I'm desperately hoping that it does come out in the next build. Will be very exciting, along with Barcelona. Should be joining it, which should be very interesting. It will be great to see that track on iRacing, of course. So yeah, Challeneur, great opportunity for him to maybe take the top of the point standing. It's currently Lockwood doing a really good job there in second place. Good, thank you in third. Just a little bit of a reminder that some of the drivers will not be setting qualifying times because they got some penalties, and there were a couple of incidents last week at Zolder.
Good
and
grief,
so those drivers
yeah.
will be able to have to start from the back of the pack. And yeah, could hinder your race one, but of course it's so important for these drivers, and I always bang on about it, but get into the top 20, you're giving yourself a good chance of getting in the reverse grid, and then from that point onwards your day can take a very upwards turn, as Christian Challeneur is doing here as he comes up out of the pits of the circuits, and yeah, is back on his way. So easy to pick up a 1x there as well. Then you'll see coming out of this point, you go right over to the right side of the circuit. Use maybe a little bit of that tarmac, but I mean, you've got to push it all the way to where iRacing allows you on the exit of that one. And then, of course, the braking down into Ravazza is ever so difficult downhill, and also narrows quite a bit through the second parts. Decent lap hit this from Challeneur. Will it be good enough for to improve his current position of P6?
Let's find out. He's currently in P6. A green box there in Sector 2. Timing line comes up at you here. And is it an improvement? It is not. A 1:38.046 keeps him in 6th place for now, which means we can now cut to Brian Lockwood, who is on a hot lap. He is coming into the Villeneuve chicane. You can see the tyre marks being left on the left-hand side there from where everyone else has tried to gain as much lap time as they can without picking up an off-track. Is very similar in a way to the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, which is where we were for the start of this season. 2 races in the UK, Brands and Snetterton. Then we had our Enduro at Belle Isle in Detroit, had a week's break, came back for Zolder last week, and now we're into Italy for 2 race meetings here at Imola and then off to Monza next week. Let's cut away from the car. Look at Brian Lockwood. He's coming into the Variante Alta now, as Carl Janssen puts his car into P2 with a 37.087. That is not too far away from Brian Lockwood's time. Lotto Moon's putting in some PBs there. You can see from the green boxes at the bottom, he goes from 37th up to 36th. Some green boxes for Brian Lockwood too, so we're going to see if he's going to be able to improve on his 36.996. For the final corner he goes. Just the run to the line to go. I wonder if we'll have a few photo finishes here. It's not too uncommon to have that. So over the line goes Brian Lockwood. It's going to be very close. And it is an improvement. 36.965. A couple of hundredths in it. And it means that he nearly has nearly a tenth of a second in hand over Carl Janssen now.
I mean, it's so close in this series, isn't it? Lockwood got pole position, certainly at Monza, at Zolder last time out. I think he may have even got a pole position or 2 elsewhere as well this season. Goes back to the pits. The drivers are allowed to tow back and then get back out on the circuit nice and quickly. And of course, towing in qualifying doesn't cost you any time. And so I imagine he'll try to go for 1 more lap if he's got time. Lewis Bibby, who's been promoted to a pro driver, was leading the AM standings, I believe. Also means that Pitstone Motorsport are now a pro team. So we'll probably not be winning the category as they're not eligible for it anymore, but still 5th place overall in that championship. Viggo Freitas also crossing the line, and yeah, just waiting to see if anyone else can perhaps storm up through the order. Carl Janssen's about to cross the line as well, but this might just be an outlap for him. In fact, it was a lap, it was an improvement, but not enough to pass Brian Lockwood. He's still just under a tenth down on the pole sitter.
Just looking at the timing screen, and with us, with how it works, if you're over a second behind, the gap is in white, and the closer you get, it gets more into red, and it's literally just a sea of red. Everybody is about a tenth or less than that apart from one another. That is what we're getting here at Imola, and you can see from the best lap times on the timing tower just how close it is. Carl Janssen in the 37s all the way down to Matt Bunn in 20th. They are all in the 37s, so quite a very decent amount of time between those guys. And Janssen, I'd be surprised if he's going for another quick lap here. Ben Gregory setting a few green boxes. He's up to 23rd with that, a 38.243. If you look at the track map, Lewis Bibby, he's back at it again. No, he's not. He's coming into the pits. What about the man behind him, Laszlo Kotrox? We heard from him a couple of weeks ago on the broadcast. Let's see how he's going to do here. Let's see whether he can improve on a 37.2. It is an improvement, I think. He's managed to leapfrog Lewis Bibby up into 5th, 37.245. Yes, he has. So up into the top 5 goes the Porsche. And with not long left in the session, not too long for many of these guys to get an improvement in. Carl Janssen's into the pits. Look at that. Backing it in. Wasn't able to get it done this time. That was an Enduro. That would have been a massive moment of comedy. But fortunately for him, it isn't. And that is the end of his qualifying session. Which means pretty much the only driver that can stop Brian Lockwood is Michael Evdoka. He's coming up to the top of the hill now into the Variante Alta. We're going to see if he can dethrone any of those two from the front row of the grid. It is worth noting that Josh Thompson is here, but under the rules, he is starting at the back of the grid because of what may have happened at Azolda last week, as into the final 2 corners comes Evdoka now, Sam.
Yes, I don't exactly know what Josh did, and I don't know what the other drivers did, but there are a few of them who have been very naughty people, and unfortunately cannot set a qualifying time. Talking to you, a bit of an unusual line. I assume this is going to be an outlap then, as he crosses the line, and is going to go for a fast up, and yes, it was at least invalidated. So it all comes down to this for Michael Evdoka. Of course, these drivers can complete the lap that they start. It's not a official series, it's a league series, and so yeah, they have a little bit more time to set a lap. And Evdoka in that very difficult to tell which car is the fastest around here. Maybe the BMW seems to work well with the bumps and the curves, is what I've heard, and certainly there are quite a few of them around this circuit. But the Ferrari as well, good down the straights, and also pretty good around the slow speed corners as well. Evdoka seemingly picking up a 1x there, and that's going to be the end of his qualifying session.
Somebody is on a lap, and they are a pro driver, just trying to work out who they are. I think it's this guy. Yes, it is. It's Arthur LeHook in the TX3 by Thrustmaster car. Let's see if he can get a lap in. He's arrived just in time to get one done, and the World Championship driver comes across the line and does... Oh, wow, 37.011. Talk about leaving it late. He's able to pip Carl Janssen to that second spot, and very nearly took Brian Lockwood off the P1 as well.
I mean, if he got pole there, you know, give him the championship trophy right now. I mean, that was a good effort from Arthur LeHook. I mean, if he'd run wide going out of that final corner, picked up an instant point, he would have been starting down in probably 45th position. Instead, he's starting in 2nd place, and he'll be very relieved about that one. Superb driving under pressure. Brandon Tabone is still out there. Also, Stephen Baxter, although he... surely he didn't cross the line in time. Also, Danny Henney. All these drivers, they seem to be pushing along, so maybe they are on lap still. Ben Gregory currently in 27th, and he stays in 27th, seemingly. Yeah,
1,000th of a second slower than his PB. Dave Baker, 24th place. Here he is. Former BSRTC champion, comes across the line and does a 1 minute...
Slower.
And it may have been invalidated as well. I didn't see a lap time appear from that. So Arthur LeHook, one of the two. Yeah, he's on his way back to the pits with a very decent job. I think he crossed the line after the checker flag came out, so I don't think we're going to be seeing any more heroics from him here. And even if it was, it's going to be slower. What a moment for him there. Yes, indeed. So, session advances, and we can get the grid up for you now and run you through how they're all going to line up for the first race of the day. Reminder, 3 20-minute races with a reverse grid thrown in there for race 2 and race 3 as well. So it's going to get pretty interesting out there on a track where it is pretty narrow. You can see here from the scenic shots just that. Brian Lockwood starts on the pole position. Arthur Lehauk starting in second, the Frenchman. Carl Janssen in P3, just 95 thousandths of a second, covering the top three. Then it's Michael Evdoka in fourth, Richard Kofencu, the Romanian, in fifth, and then Laszlo Kotrox in sixth from Hungary. Lewis Bibby in seventh, then it's Christian Challoner in eighth, Nicholas Helm in ninth, and Ross McFarlane in 10th. 11th for Pete Harrod, 12th Christian Rose. 13th place on the grid is Ben Hackerson. Then it's Chris Daines, Ben Palmer, Miguel Freitas, Brandon Tabone there in 17th, and then it's the first of the Pro-Am drivers in Jason Dilworth. Steve Baxter starting in 19th, and Jack McIntyre completing the top 20, just a second covering the top 20 cars. 21st for Jake Blackhall, the Aussie. Matt Bunn starting in 22nd. Then it's Daniel McCauley. Then Dave Baker in 24th. Danny Henney in 25th. Then Mark Woodhouse, Ben Gregory, Chris Wood in 28th place. Then Richard Warmingham, Pete Newman in 30th. Then Andy Shield, car 007 in 31st. James Eagleston for Year 1 Fury Sim Sports in 32nd. His teammate Dennis Eipenberg starting in 33rd. Then Jerome Kaiser, compatriot, in 34th. Simon Underhill, 35th. Ethan Bass, the Scotsman, in 36th. Michael Blake in 37th. Then Ronald Moons, the Belgian. Rob Kuss in 39th. And then Mike Partington in 40th. Keith Camilleri, Marco Namella, Barry Baird, Billy Fletcher in 44th. 45th, Edward Radbridger. Ashley Blake Could in 46th. Chaz Dracos in 47th. Mike Gray in 48th. 49th, Thibaut Gazalban. And Josh Thompson starting in 50th. We've got 48 cars on the grid. Thibaut Gazalban and Josh Thompson haven't appeared yet, which makes me wonder whether they're either going to take part at all or they're starting from the pit lane. One of the two. But 48 cars, Sam. Some of them not setting qualifying times because of back of the grid penalties. Begin the very short pace lap. I say pace lap, it's about a pace sector. And then we're going to go racing.
Yes, thanks iRacing for having such a short pace lap. It is significantly better than Road America, it's safe to say, which has a full pace lap, but no, these modern circuits certainly have nailed it. But no, should be an awesome race. This start going to be very important, and Lockwood usually solid out in the lead. He's certainly the favourite, just needs to make sure he gets that launch away from the rest of the drivers, and then he should have a very good chance from that very wide BMW M8.
Here we go then. It is a long, long way to the green lights, I believe. We either get it here or we get it at the actual start line, which is a bit further along. Away goes Brian Lockwood. Here we go. We're going to get the racing underway. Over the timing line they go, but the green lights don't come on until they get to this bit here. There we go. We're racing at Imola for the first time tonight. First of 3 races, and you can see straight away Carl Janssen trying to get second place going into the Tamburello chicane, and he has got it. So straight away, Janssen into second position. Arthur Lehaug down to third place in the TX3 by Thrustmaster Khan. It looks like for the most part, everyone, no, I spoke too soon. Watch out, everybody. Into the wall goes Steve Baxter. Fortunately, everybody misses him. There was a CQR car around in the middle of the field before that even took place. That was Ben Hackerson, sorry, in the Radicals Online Motoff car. He's managed to get going without being T-boned by anybody else. And as they go through Toaster and up Piratella for the first time, it's Lockwood that remains in the lead. Janssen second. Arthur Lehauk in third, and it's Ivdoka, Laszlo Kotrox, Gafencu, Bibby, Challoner, Helm, and Chris Daines dropping down the order too, Sam.
Yes, that must be a slowdown, I think, for Chris Daines. Such a shame because he gained 2 places actually on the start. As we got a Ford stuck in the middle of the circuit and he got hit by someone into the wall. Jack McIntyre for V-Racer, so not a good start for V-Racer with, I think Baxter was his teammate who got spun round. So a shame for those guys. And out in the front, at least, Janssen up 1 place. Also, a little bit of a couple more issues for Eipenberg, I think, just dropping down the order. And Mike Gray as well, perhaps getting involved in something. So I think a few drivers just getting pushed off, maybe getting slowdowns as well. And it's just caused a little bit of chaos. But certainly much better than we saw last week as we've got more incidents.
Yeah, that's Mike Gray, I think, in the XVR Sim Racing car. There's Ashley Blake Could there as well. He's in the unmistakable all-pink Simortal Smile Time car. Not too sure how much damage he's got to his car, but as they come across the line to complete the opening lap, it's Lockwood that has the early advantage. Then it's Carl Janssen in second, Lehauk in third, Evdoka fourth. Then it's Kotrox, Gafencu, Bibby, Challoner, Helm, and McFarlane. You can see who's gained the most positions out of the top 20. Matt Bunt's had a fantastic start, 17 places gained. One thing that will help many of these drivers who have had issues at the start, if they've picked up any damage, is that they do have a fast repair. So if you get back to the pits under your own steam, you can get a brand new car and get on your way again. As one of the Radicals Online cars goes very wide through the Villeneuve chicane, it was Laszlo Kotrox, but no harm, no foul. He's able to carry on in that P5, and Janssen He's closing right onto the back of Lockwood already. This is the beginning of what we can expect to be a fantastic duel between the two BMWs, which look right at home at this Imola circuit.
Yeah, Janssen was embroiled in a superb battle at Belle Isle earlier on in the season. Alongside Mark Fletcher, of course, and he managed to eventually make the move there. Difficult to tell whether this circuit is easier or harder to overtake around, but what Janssen has got is that he was certainly very strong in qualifying. Usually struggles a little bit in qualifying, but much stronger today, and he's ever so good at being able to track the tyre checks of the driver ahead, and you can see he's on the prowl. He's going to pick up on any mistake that the current race leader makes. But Lockwood holding stern at the moment. He knows what to do. He just knows that he's got to hit his spots. And these two starting to pull away from the rest of the field. But Janssen certainly right in the slipstream now.
Yeah, we're going to see how good the slipstream is here as we come across the line to complete the second lap. And immediately Lockwood is darting about all over the place. He's trying to disrupt the toe. He's going to cover the inside line, which is probably wise. Fastest lap of the race by Janssen as well. It's all going to be about less than late breakers. And it's Lockwood that is the last of the late breakers and has the inside line as well. And he's just about able to hold on to his advantage. Janssen trying to set him up on the exit of the Tamburello, but he's not going to be able to get by at all. You've really got to be alongside if you want to get a move done into Villeneuve. Otherwise, both of you will be off. And a fantastic scrap between these guys right from the get-go. Right, let's see if we can have a look quickly. What on earth happened to Ben Hackerson at the beginning of the race? Here it is from the helicopter. Hackerson in the Radicals Online car. You can see him there. Right in the curve. Is he going to get hit by the BrickTech car? He is. And he gets on the brakes straight away, and unbelievably he's able to bail out of that and stop anybody from hitting him. Credit to him on that one.
I think we saw a couple of seasons ago when we were running GT3s in this league. I think we saw a Basin incident on lap 1, but that time we had a bit of a pilot lap. That time, yeah, super good to straight away get off the racing line, really impressive. This is what happened to Baxter then, so I guess he just got caught up in this one way or another. Yeah, just the nomad car, maybe understaying a little bit into him, trying to avoid the mess himself, and Baxter unfortunately got very much involved in that one and had to tow back to the pit, so safe to say he will not be eligible for the reverse grid for the next race.
Right. That was conveniently timed. They're back at it again as they come out of the Ravazza back onto the front straight. It is Lockwood versus Janssen again as they come across the line. 37.7 there by Janssen, 37.5 for Lahauk. Don't rule him out potentially, especially if these two start coming to blows. Into the Tamburello chicane. Oh, and they do already. Over the gravel goes Carl Janssen. That will almost certainly be a slowdown penalty you'd expect. And yeah, he duly gets out of the way. And through into second place goes Arthur Lahauk in the TX3 by Thrustmaster car. We just said there, Sam, that he was waiting to take advantage, and they have a little bit of a knock between the two, Lockwood and Janssen, and the TX3 by Thrustmaster car takes full advantage, and up into second place he goes.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty of overtaking at turn 1. If you fend the inside line, then you're going to have to go to the outside, obviously, and you're putting so much faith into the driver on the inside because they've got every opportunity just to smash you off the circuit. Not to say that Brian Lockwood did that necessarily, but of course, getting two cars side by side through that corner, ever so difficult to do, and all of a sudden it's Lahook now on the charge. Also gets Abdoka and Kotchok's a little bit involved as well in 4th and 5th place, and you can lose so much time around this track if you start battling one another, defending unnecessarily perhaps into corners, going side by side into a few corners, really kills your momentum, and the drivers are so evenly matched there. If they start fighting these top two, we could have potentially maybe even a 10-car train.
Into the Ravazza we go again. We do hope to cover everybody in the field, but as you can see from the intervals, everybody is just so closely matched. It is the power of this Imola circuit. If you can just stay within about half a second of the car in front of you, and then you get onto this front straight, you'll be able to tow right back up to them. It's a bit of a concertina here. Over the line we go. It's Lockwood, but this time it's Lahauk trying to get by. Let's see if the TX3 by Thrustmaster car can do what Carl Janssen couldn't. He's alongside, he brakes late, but Lockwood has that inside line. There's enough space given. He bounces over the curbs. They hit each other. Carl Janssen's going to arrive on the scene now. Do we dare go 3 wide? We are going to go 3 wide. Who's going to come out on top here? It's going to be... Oh, no, please, guys. No. No. Oh, they're all out. And Michael Avdoka takes the lead. I did not expect that from these guys. These are supposed to be some of the best in the business. And Michael Avdoka leads, and Laszlo Kotchoks is up into second, Sam.
I mean... When that was setting up, you thought, nah, this ain't going to happen. it happened, and all three of them have absolutely wrecked their races. So to say, LeHook is falling way down the order. I don't know if he got significant damage in that, but I mean, I mean, I'll say how 2 wide is difficult. They went 3 wide in the widest car pretty much in all of iRacing, and that's what happens in Maglev Docker. I mean, not many times in your entire iRacing career do you get a opportunity like this where the top 3 drivers all take one another out. Well, that's what's happened to him, and he leads with Laszlo Kochuk then right behind him. Janssen drops down to 5th place, Lockwood in 6th, and like I said, the other driver, LeHook, well out of the mix now. He's outside the top 40, in fact, so won't even be within the reverse grid.
Well, credit to them at this point. They were both able to stay onto the circuit. A little bit of a knock there. But that's all fine in the World GT Championship. We expect that. Then Janssen threads the needle up the middle. Surely you'd thought Lockwood may have had to have bailed at that point. Then it's the contact between them, and it's definitely Arthur that comes off the worst for wear there. Front splitter completely gone old dear, and that's a bad rejoin as well. Right into the path of one of the... I think that may have been, oh dear me, I think it was, it may have even been Christian Schalliner. Yes, it was, in the Radicals Online car. He's had to come back to the pits because of that. Carl Janssen into pit lane 2. So a few sufferers there in that whole mess at the Villeneuve chicane. What it has done, though, is that Evdoka and Kotrox are laughing all the way to the bank at the moment and laughing all the way to the top 2 positions because they now lead. It's Lewis Bibby in 3rd, then it's Richard Kafenku, then Brian Lockwood in 5th. He's been able to somewhat come out of this unscathed, even though he was the one in the middle when it all took place. And then it's Nicholas Helm, Ross McFarlane, Pete Harrod, Christian Rose, Ben Palmer rounding out the top 10. And then we can take a look at our highest AM driver. And that's currently Matt Bunn, who sits in P14, but the fight for second in the Pro-Am category is very tasty indeed. Here it is. We've got Gregory, we've got Blackhall, we've got Woodhouse, Macaulay and Dilworth, all within a couple of tenths of a second of each other. So decent scrap going on here. Ferrari with 2 Porsches right behind him.
Yeah, and Gregory up 11 places so far, so he really managed to got through that instance on the first lap impressively. But he seems to be the slowest out of these drivers. He seems to have that gen, or maybe he's already escalated this train already. Well, it's certainly by the characteristics of Jake Blackwell. He feels like he's much faster. That Ferrari, though, should be the fastest car at the top end speed, and that's what you really need if you're going to defend around this track. Because the one main overtaking opportunity, of course, is turn 1. And as long as you goes to straight line speed, you can maintain a decent gap. But that's a good exit there from Blackwell coming out of the final corner. And Gregory will go right to the left side of the circuit. Blackwell puts his nose down the inside. He knows that that gap's going to disappear, almost hits the hit wall there. You can see that Ferrari really good straight line speed, and Blackwell, if anything, his speed neutralising against the driver just ahead of him. Gregory with a very acute angle here. Blackwell round the outside, and well, that's how you do the move. Gregory was very respectful there on the inside, and Blackwell with a fantastic move. He's up into 2nd place in the Pro-Am category.
Great move by him there, showing those guys at the front in the overall category how it's done. Mark Woodhouse has got Danny Macaulay right behind him, and he in turn has got Jason Dilworth breathing down his neck too. Dilworth lost 2 places at the start of the race. Gregory, by the way, gained 10. He's right up there. So too Keith Camilleri and Mark Namella. They have both gained 18 spots since the race got going. Biggest loser, of course, Steve Baxter, the car that was in the wall on the exit of the Tamburello chicane. That was an overtake there. That was Keith Camilleri getting past Richard Warmingham. So that is the XVR Sim Racer car down to 23rd place. Keith Camilleri now 19 places to the good, up into 22nd spot now in the Ferrari as he continues his charge up the field. Battle going on here. It's the battle for 6th. It's Nicholas Helm versus Ross McFarlane. The Swede has done a good job up until now. I say he's been doing a good job all race. 3 places gained. And now Ross McFarlane is fancying his chances of trying to nick one of those spots away. Coming out of the final corner. Half the race gone. And this could get interesting going down the front straight.
Yeah, apologies if I'm completely wrong, but I think Helm was at least fighting for a race win last time out at Zolder. I think he may have even won race 2. Might be wrong on that one, as Palmer goes past their Rose, Christian Rose in 10th place, so change of position. They are both CQR drivers, and there wasn't much of a fight put up there by Rose, so I imagine Palmer will go and hunt down the drivers ahead. Camilleri, who's usually a little bit further up than this, but he's kept making his way through the order as well. He's up into 21st place now. He is up 20 places, so I think he got a qualifying suspension. So has had to do the hard work, but crucially, he's got a good chance of maybe even getting on pole position for race 2 when we apply the reverse grid. So very good working from him.
One disadvantage of being at a circuit with lots of grass around it is that we do get lots of off tracks on the event viewer. It's our challenge to try and work out which is worth going to. Edward Rapiger and Arthur Lahauka crashed apparently, and Lahauka's had to tow back to the pits. I'm intrigued to find out what's going to happen here because oh hello. Right, this is Villeneuve again. Oh no, he's free wide at this point. He's carrying on without the front splitter. He's going to go around the outside. Oh dear. He's already crashed there once. He's crashed there again, and he's taken Rapiger with him, and he's towed back to the pits after that. So just when he arrived late to qualifying, put it on P2, had that crash for the lead, and then has crashed at Villeneuve again. So I think he'll be hoping to hit Control Alt Delete, and things will be brightening up for race 2. But as we return to the lead, Sam, it's 2 tenths of a second between Evdoka and Kotrox. These guys now at the front, and this is something interesting now because we've got a Ferrari leading, and he did mention the top end speed. He's going to be trying to use every last little bit of that top end speed to try and make sure that that Porsche cannot get by between Ravazza and Tamburello.
Yes, definitely. And so far, at least from what I've seen, Kotrox hasn't really got particularly close to making the move. This is a fantastic opportunity for these two drivers. I don't think either have won a race so far this season. Certainly Evdoka won at Road America, I believe, last season. I think that's his perhaps his only ever win in this series. Kotrox, this is his first ever season, and I don't think he's won a race. Maybe he came close at Brands Hatch, but I don't think he's actually won one. Maybe got a couple of podiums. So I think both of them are a little bit tentative. Both realise what an incredible opportunity this is, because this should be the battle for 4th and 5th. So it's the battle for 1st and 2nd, and they're working well as a team. They're still extending that lead out, and it will be a fantastic points haul for the pair of them if it ended like this. Bibby under pressure from Gafenku. Yeah, we haven't paid too much attention to that battle, to be honest, but yeah, Bibby doing well for Dixon Spitslow Motorsport, making a 1-3 for that team. And Gafenku as well in 4th. Lockwood maybe getting a little bit of damage because he's really struggling to keep up with these guys. He's another 3 seconds back.
Got a nice bunch of cars here on the way after behind Ben Palmer. That is a picture of him. I don't know why it's you can just see the mouth, but there you go. Behind him it's Pete Harrod, then it's Christian Rose, Brandon Tabone and Chris Daines, all relatively close here as they come across the line. Just a couple of tenths a second in. There you go. You can throw a blanket over them pretty much. And at the front, Evdoka and Kotrox were just about a tenth of a second apart by the time they got to the Tamburello chicane. It's stretched just out a little bit now as they've gone through the Tamburello and Villeneuve chicane. 5 minutes, just under 5 minutes to go here in the opening race, and a lot to talk about in what's happened so far. Here is Ben Palmer then in the Sim Sports Racing USA car. There he is in the middle, trying to get by Ross McFarlane. Just 3 tenths of a second between him and the V-Racer car, is doing a very good job at keeping all these guys at bay. The Ferrari using its top end speed to its advantage here, as back at the front it's still nose to tail between these two, and when we get to the line we will probably be about 16.5 minutes into it. So just doing a bit of quick maths here, we'll have about, I'd say, 2 or 3 laps left. I'd say about 3 laps left when we get to the line, so plenty of opportunity for Kotrox to plan where he wants to get his move done. Overtake going into the Acqua Minerale. That's Ben Palmer's teammate, Danny McCauley, getting by Marco Namella there. Namella, who's gained 20 spots in the Racecraft Esports BMW, having one taken away from him there by the Sim Sports Racing USA car. So that is McCauley up into 21st, Marco Namella down to 22nd.
Yeah, unusual overtake there because it seems to be in the middle of Acqua Minerale, isn't it? Which is one of the toughest places to overtake on the entire circuit, but he got it done, and that's 21st position side by side between Bibby and Gafenku. Bibby was round the outside, Gafenku on the inside. He still got the inside, has Richard Gafenku. This should be the better line, although if Bibby can really sling it round the outside, he might have the inside for the next part. That is what Bibby is trying to do. Oh. This is really good racing, maybe a little bit of net code. I don't think that was proper contact. Bibby stays ahead though. And Gafenku maybe will be a little bit enraged by that. I think he's got a wise head though. Gafenko, he's quite an experienced driver. Might just set him for 4th place. Would still be a really good result for him.
Little knock there, indeed, there by between Bibi and Gafenko. That's what happens when you go too wide through the Villeneuve chicane. Here is this train that's still going on. There's one of the Year 1 SimSport cars, Fury SimSport, coming under pressure. That is James Eagleston battling away with Pete Newman, going over the top of the hill into the Piratella. Let's see if Newman can get the move done. He's late on the brakes. The Ferrari goes through. Eagleston gets a good exit though. You can tell he's been definitely hit up the back. Into Aquina Minerali. Watch out for Andy Shield as well there in the other Sim Sports Racing USA car. They are well populated in the midfield. And I wonder if one of them will be able to benefit from the reverse grid as well. Through the final corner then, here come the leaders onto what you would expect to be the penultimate lap here. And Avdoka must have had a fantastic exit from Ravazza, because despite Kotrox's best efforts, he's only going to get to within, well, 0.2 of a second by the time they get on the brakes into the Tamburello chicane. And he's going to have a pretty good lap here if he wants to try and take it to the final lap, barring, of course, Avdoka, our race leader, making a mistake. Just going to get up Avdoka's stats here just to see how he's been this season as they go into the Toast hairpin. His best finish 5th all season. So this will probably be on course for his best result of the season if he can finish 1st or 2nd. Shows the dominance of the guys in the front as well.
Yeah, sorry just to interrupt there, but so yeah, Mike Partington dropping down the order.
Oh yeah,
seemingly.
I think he's just got going again, hasn't he? Let's have a quick look at what befell Partington here. Looks like he'll be on his own. He's going to have a very decent view of a battle going on in front of him. Here's the Thrustmaster Movano driver. Oh, hello. Evasive action, wasn't it? He could see the BMW in front of him about to go spinning, and he got on the brakes, got on the grass, spun the car around, and he's got going again now, except he's only 35th. Mark Woodhouse, versus Keith Camilleri. Keith is through, but Nemella is going to try and get by him again, going into the Ravazza. BMW pulls alongside and is just about through. Is Woodhouse going to look up the inside? He thinks about it, but that is Nemella through into 20th place again. Very close between Sabone and Rose as well as we start the final lap, Sam.
Yep, one more lap to go, lap 13 of this race. And Sabone's done a good job. Sorry, 17th place. He's up into the top 10, so one of the biggest gainers out of the drivers in the top 20 or so. And he will try to catch up to the train ahead. Hopefully, for him at least, something happens to the drivers ahead, whilst his teammate Keith Camilleri trying to get maybe one last move done. This on Chris Daines for 18th place, and every place you gain, more likely to get into the reverse grid. So really important for Camilleri, one of the championship contenders. Remember, going to go for the inside would have been ambitious there. It's certainly an opportunity, but doesn't really get the exit either. So he's pretty much got the last couple of corners of the Ravazza, and that's pretty much it if he's going to be able to gain one more position in this race.
Back at the front then, Ben Hackerson's crashed, by the way, so too Andy Shield. Will maybe take a look at what happened to those guys once the checker flag has come out. Well, what drama in the opening race of the day. The top 3 taking each other out in the Villeneuve chicane, and these two are able to benefit. Coming to the checker flag, Michael Avdoka, whose best finish was 5th before this race meeting, is going to come through and take the opening race of the day. Laszlo Kotrox gets a podium as well, and Lewis Bibby is going to beat Richard Gafenko to the bronze medal here. He gets 3rd with Gafenko in 4th, and Brian Lockwood completing the top 5. It is 5th, but it could so easily have been 1st. Matt Bunn is going to come home and take the Pro-Am honours in the opening race of the day. Jake Blackhall is going to finish just a couple of seconds behind him in 2nd, and Ben Gregory is going to complete the Pro-Am podium. Keith Camilleri and Chris Daines and Marco Nemella all very, very close between those 3 at the checkered flag. And we've just got a few more cars to come across the line. Billy Fletcher and Andy Shield just over 1/10 of a second apart. And Mike Partington and Danny Henney just a couple of tenths of a second apart. Everybody locking up the rears as they come across the line. Right, let's have a look at what happened to Ben Hackerson. Said he crashed. Let's see where, or if he crashed. It's going to go up the inside here, one of the Team Mad cars. Oh, half spin, gets on the anchors and gets going again. That's what happened to him. Andy Shield, something happened to him here. Plus something happened to Dave Baker as well. He was running in the midfield, so I'm intrigued to see what happened to Dave there. Oh, nice far at all there. Car 388, Billy Fletcher. Him and him coming to blows. And Dave Baker. This is coming up to the Variante Alta. This is Jake Blackhall trying to get by. CQR colleagues in a sense. Ah. Oh. Baker just about missing the wall. And he gets going. Unfortunately, doesn't lose many more positions. I think he only dropped down to P16 in the end. So that's all the drama that unfolded on the final lap of the race, as the race back to the pits carries on.
Yes, so some grudges perhaps to be settled, and some good turning circles on those Porsches. Of course, a big iRacing partner with the Porsche Esports Super Cup, I believe. Of course, catch that every other Saturday. I think there might be around this week actually coming up. I think that's even at Imola, in fact, this Saturday. And yeah, with plenty of the top drivers in the world will be taking part in that one. You can find that on the iRacing Esports Network. But yeah, I think it's time to go through the final results.
And here they are. It's annoying that the results has had to deliver a paddy with us, because I would have liked to have seen how close all these guys were. But they are in the right order. Michael Evdoka takes the first race of the day. Laszlo Kotrox in second. Lewis Bibby completing the podium. Richard Gafenku in fourth. Brian Lockwood in fifth. Nicholas Helm in sixth. Ross McFarlane in seventh. Then Ben Palmer. Pete Harrod in ninth. And Brandon Tabone completing the top 10. Christian Rose in 11th. 12th Miguel Freitas. And then it's the top three in the Pro-Am category. Is a CQR GT 1-2 in that class as well, with Matt Bunn, Jake Blackhall and Ben Gregory. Then it's Dave Baker in 16th place, 17th for Jason Dilworth, then Chris Daines in P18, 19th for Keith Camilleri, then Marco Namella, Mark Woodhouse, Chris Wood and Richard Warmingham, 21st, 22nd and 23rd. Then it's Danny McCauley, Pete Newman, James Eagleston in 26th, then Simon Underhill, then Andy Shield, Billy Fletcher, Jerome Kaiser, Ethan Bass there in 31st, then it's Carl Janssen all the way down in 32nd spot. Ben Hackerson in 33rd, Danny Henney, Mike Partington, Michael Blake in 36th, then Chaz Draycott, Ronald Moons, then Ashley Blake Hood, Barry Baird, Christian Challoner, Rob Cuss, Edward Rappager, Jack McIntyre, Dennis Eipenberg, Steve Baxter had that big crash, and then the cars that didn't finish. Arthur Lahauk having 2 moments at the Villeneuve chicane. Mike Gray, 9 laps down, Tibok Gazalban and Josh Thompson, 49th and 50th, both of them didn't take the start. Right then, it is time for the first reverse grid wheel spin of the day. Looking forward to this one. We've seen so far tonight that there is plenty of close quarter racing going on at Imola. So this reverse grid could be crucial for quite a lot of these guys' races, including the guys in the championship fights, the likes of Carl Janssen and whatnot. They are in need of a helpful reverse grid, because they want to be back in the mix after a disaster down at the Villeneuve chicane when they were fighting for the lead. The reverse grid wheel is going to be up in a second. Here it is, and we are going to spin it now. Find out who's going to be on pole for race 2 here at Imola in the World GT Championship. Let's spin the wheel. It could so easily have been 22, but it's going to be 16 instead. Who's that going to be on the pole then, Sam?
So that'll be Dave Baker then on the pole position. He dropped down a couple of places right at the end there, and it'll be grateful that he didn't drop any more places. He'll be on pole position. Ben Gregory, who gained 12 places in race 1, he gets a deserved front row start with Matt Bunn and Jake Blackhall forming up the second row of the grid. So, well, yeah, pick a winner out of that lot. So you'd be hard pressed to.
Yeah, which is why we're not going to, because we're going to take a quick break here on the iRacing Esports Network. But stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be on the grid and getting set for the second race of the day of 3 in the World GT Championship at the Autodromo Enzo Adino Ferrari. Don't go anywhere.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network. We're back at Imola. That's the second time I've done that today for the second race of the day in the World GT Championship. After a crazy first race, which saw Michael Avdoka take victory in the end after the top three took each other out at the Villeneuve chicane. We're getting set for race 2. And the first reverse grid of the evening, which put Dave Baker on the pole position with Ben Gregory in second. We've got some of the grid here to run you through now. Even at the speed I can do the grid, I don't think we'll be able to get through all of it by the time they come around to take the green lights. There they are now. It's Baker, then Gregory, Blackwell and Bunn. So a good opportunity for one of the Pro-Am drivers to potentially get a result. I did see Dave Baker put in the YouTube chat during the break that with him on the pole position, this could get interesting. Brandon DeBone 7th, Pete Harrod 8th, Ben Palmer 9th, Ross McFarlane 10th. Brian Lockwood starting in 12th place. He was in the lead before it all really kicked off. Started on the pole position as well. Then we've got the likes of Laszlo Kotrox and Michael Avdoka, the top two at the end of race 1. Finished starting 15th and 16th. And the rest of the field slowly filtering through. Cars starting from the pit lane, Billy Fletcher and Mike Gray. Those two starting from the pits. Technical issues for Thompson, I think I saw on the YouTube chat. I'll have to go back and double check that. But as the rest of the field comes through, before we couldn't do a prediction before we went to the break, Sam, but a quick one from you before we get going.
Oh, putting the pressure on me now. Oh dear, I'll go Dave Baker. I'll go safe option. Pole sitter Bosch. He'll hang on to it for the entire race.
See if he can do it then. He's going to go straight away. He's left Ben Gregory napping, and he's going to get swamped by everybody else. Green lights are going to go on now, and we're racing at Imola for the second race today in the World GT Championship. Ben Gregory is just about able to hold on to his second position. What about everybody else? Into the Tamburello we go. Hopefully everybody gets through. Looks like for the most part everyone has. No one's spinning around like we saw with Ben Haxon at the beginning. Oh, no, I spoke too soon. Around goes one of the Racecraft Esports cars, Year 1 Fury Sim Sport, trying to get by 2. Team Maz Mark Woodhouse is around there. He is just trying to work out who it was that we saw going around before all that kicked off. I think it may have been Namella, yeah, Marco Namella. Yeah, it was Brian Lockwood's teammate. Yeah, so it would have been Marco Namella. He's gone around, and cheers, and he's now down to 43rd place. But it looks like for the most part, he's managed to survive without picking up too much damage.
Yes, still very much got that Racecraft Esports logo on his car, but out in the lead. Leading the way is Dave Baker, and they are starting to get into single file. Good start for Palmer, he's up 1 place. No changes in the top 7, by the way. Lockwood up 2 places, up into 10. Hit Harrod down 3 places into 11th. McFarlane down a couple of places as well. Bibby down 3 places into 17th. Janssen, really good start for him from 32nd to 25th already. So good start for the defending champion. Also good start for Arthur LeHook as well. He's up 10 places, but very far down the order from his gridding place. And 1 lap in the books, and this couldn't have gone much better for Dave Baker. But you can see Gregory edging closer, just gets a waft of that slipstream, and that's enough to really help him along, gains a couple of tenths just down the pit straight.
Yeah, 7 tenths of a second advantage for Baker going into the Tamburello chicane. Gregory in his Ferrari. I wonder if as the race progresses, we might be able to see the straight line speed of that come to fruition. But these CQR cars at the front are so brilliantly set up. We see that now in most of the series that we cover, both on the iRacing Esports Network and on Apex Racing TV as well. Close battle going on here. Brian Lockwood going to swoop around the outside there of Ben Palmer. Or is that Ben Palmer trying to get the move done on Brian Lockwood? I think it is Lockwood trying to get by. And it looks like Lockwood has got by Helm, I should say. Yeah, Brian Lockwood through into 9th. And Nicholas Helm down to 10th. Next up on Lockwood's list is Ben Palmer. You can see the BMW in front of him as he goes into Acqua Minerale now. And then after that, it's the Ferrari of Brandon Tabone, who didn't have the best exit there. And could be under pressure going into the Variante Alto as we look from the back of the Ferrari.
Yeah, Lockwood having a really good run. Of course, he got caught up in that instant in race 1 when he started on pole position and had 3 wide going into the Villeneuve chicane. Certainly watch it back after this broadcast if you haven't seen it, about 6 minutes into the opening race of the day. but he's having a good recovery at the moment, and it's no doubt he's one of the fastest drivers out of this kind of top 10 pack or so. But whilst everyone else has got the slipstream one, now we've seen this in the MP4-30, the Formula 1 car, with the DRS chains. It's a similar situation here. If you got the slipstream on the car ahead, then you're kind of fending yourself off from the car behind. And so whilst they're in a chain like this, it's really difficult to make a move, particularly around this Imola circuit. And Gregory coming under a little bit of pressure from Blackhall there, but Blackhall not quite nailing that first chicane and just drops a couple of tenths behind.
Let's take a look at what happened at the start, shall we? This is going into the Sambrello chicane. Looking here at Mark Woodhouse, you can just about see Marco Namella in front of us. Oh, and he gets hit by the Ferrari. And then Woodhouse gets sent around as well. He just about doesn't get hit by anyone until further around the lap when Ashley Blake could, and it looks like Arthur Lahau could get it come together. You can see the TX3 by Thrustmaster car at the bottom of the shot. Into they go, too wide into there. Oh. Now the turning circle on the BMW. Oh my god, there's a pink car upside down. And yeah, he gets going again in the end. Ashley Blake with a few cars falling by the wayside as well. McIntyre and Ronald Moons may have been some of them as well as we rejoin to live. And as David Baker scampers off up the road, it's now very much the fight for second as Blackhall is all over the back of the Ferrari of Gregory. However, with the speed of the Ferrari, you'd expect him to get a bit of respite on the front straight. We'll wait and see if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, another good exit there from Gregory. He just pulls away 0.3 of a second. And Blackhall will know that this is half a chop opportunity at a race win. Certainly it's no done deal if he gets this move. He might not even be able to catch up to Dave Baker, but I'm sure if he can get this move done, he might be able to pull away and get a comfortable second place. That's what he'll be thinking at the moment. Gregory just putting his car right in the middle of the circuit and nothing the driver behind can do. Lockwood, has he just got past Palmer? He has, so he's up 4 places now from his start. Carl Jansen's up into 17th place, by the way. He's just taking off about 2 cars every single lap at the moment, and he's up 15 places from his start. There he is. Next up for him will be Keith Camillet, who Camillet wasn't the driver he got caught up in race 1, but Camillet is a very quick driver, and also Bibby as well, the third place driver from race 1. So that'll be very interesting once he comes across those guys. A bit technical driver just behind and spinning round. It was Chris Daines, and just trying to go for the dummy there, but it's too narrow around that part of the circuit. I'm not sure if the driver ahead quite knew down the Corley that he had a BMW on the inside of him.
Oh. Tried, didn't he? Don't know if it was fully committed or not. But either way, that's helped Chris Daines. It's definitely come off worse for Daniel McCauley out of all that. And they are able to carry on their way. Close battle there for, oh, what was that? That was between Matt Bunn and Miguel Freitas going into the Ravazza. A few Pro-Am drivers all trying to get involved here. Look at this. To come out onto the front straight to complete another lap. It is nose to tail for about 4 or 5 cars there as they come across the line. Let's see if Christian Rose, which is the Porsche that we're looking at, is going to get passed by Brandon Tabone, who is in the supposedly quicker Ferrari. He's trying to get by on the outside, but no way through there. Carl Jansen, he is a coming. He puts in a new fastest lap of the race, a 38.4. Into the pits comes Ethan James Bass, the Brittech SimSport car, coming in for potentially a new car, and he'll carry on from there. Michael Evdoka, the race 1 winner, trying to his best to try and get by Richard Gafenko, and this is proving to be an interesting scrap with the pink mirrors.
Yeah, trying to get the cut back. Could have maybe gone around the outside, but we've seen, if you do that, of course, you're very much at the whim of the driver. On the inside again, on the outside, Evdoka, and just try and get the cut back into every single one of these corners. Problem is, Gafenko's getting good exits at the moment, and every single corner can bend down the inside, and just no opportunity for Evdoka, not a long enough straight after it. But they are keeping up with the drivers ahead at least, so they're not losing too much time. And you feel as though something could really erupt here. Lockwood still in 8th place, hasn't been able to get past Tabone yet. Tabone, though, is lacking a slipstream from the drivers ahead, so if Lockwood's going to make this move, he's got to get it done soon. Otherwise, Tabone will inevitably catch up to those drivers ahead, and he will start getting a slipstream, and it'll get 10 times harder for the pole sitter from race 1.
It's looking all right at the moment, though, and you saw from the reverse grid that we had earlier what numbers it goes up to. We go up to 24. The smallest reverse grid it could be is 14. So that's the bracket that we're covering.
There goes Lockwood straight past, so up 5 places now from his start, and 1.6 seconds catch up to Christian Rose now. As having to defend his Tabone, this is going to be a move from Ben Palmer around the outside into BMW, and that's a really good move from car number 2, CQR Club. He's going to have to stick right to the inside. Tabone tries to come back once again. Now I've got a V-Racer driver on the inside. Nicholas Helm could be shoved out here, just about giving him room there. Credit to Tabone there for not shoving him off the circuit. Helm, this is going to be brave. Into, oh dear, off. Not too much damage for Helm, he'll get back going, but drops down to 14th place, even lower than that.
May have been a slight bit of contacts in there that resulted in that, and fortunately for all concerned, they were able to carry on without too much drama. No one going into the wall. Back here in the fight for, well, it says the fight for 5th. Well, you could theoretically say it's the fight for 2nd. They are all that close as we approach the half race distance in the second race. Gregory, Blackhall and Bunn, all Pro-Ams, all doing a fantastic job currently. 3 of them are in the podium positions, and then it's Freitas trying to chase them down, and then it's Rose, and then of course it's Brian Lockwood, the pole sitter in the qualifying session for race 1. Ross McFarlane is a man on the move. He doesn't want to be in 10th place for long. He started there. Is he going to try and get 9th? He's going to try anyway, and up the inside he goes of the KC Racing esports car, and through goes Ross McFarlane into 9th place. And here's another battle. It's Christian Challenot who's up 16 places. That 16th place is his for the taking, and he's taken it. He's passed James Eagleston in the Year 1 Fury Simsport car. Challenot up into 24th. James Eagleston down to 25th. And if the reverse grid was to land on 24, it would be Challenot on the pole if he's to stay in that spot.
He was looking really good to maybe take the lead of the championship, was Challenot, going into this round with the championship leader not here today. As Blackhall dropping down, the CQR, oh shame, he was still right on the tail of Gregory, I believe, but maybe just a self-inflicted spin there, and he drops down to
18.
Where is he? 18th. So he might get within the reverse grid, but not quite sure. Shame for Blackhall. This is how it happened then. And it was just a small tap, wasn't it, from the car ahead of Gregory, and just unsettled the car ever so slightly.
Fortunately for him, it was the tyre barrier that he hit, otherwise he would have inflicted a lot more damage. This track, as you can see, is surrounded by quite a lot of concrete walls. So if you are going to have one around here, it could potentially be a big one. Fight for 3rd place is at stake. Ben Gregory has a relatively healthy advantage, but Matt Bunn is really starting to come under pressure here from Team Mad's Miguel Freitas. Freitas from Portugal, not too far away from Italy. Actually, no, it is quite a way away from Italy. Geography coming in handy here as they go through the Tamburello chicane. Different time zone, in fact. Into the Villeneuve chicane now, and it is CQR versus Team Mad, 2 teams that know each other well. And Matt Bunn will be hoping, as we're now 12 minutes into this race, he'll be able to keep Freitas at bay for just a couple more laps.
Yeah, this would still be a good podium for Bunn. Remember, he starts in 4th place, so he has gained 1 place from his start. But certainly it must be stressful. These 20-minute races, I mean, when you're in the position that Bunn is compared to maybe the position that someone like Carl Janssen is in, this race will race past for Janssen. He'll be thinking, why are there more laps for me to gain some more positions? Meanwhile, for maybe Gregory and Bunn, and also Baker as well out in the lead, they'll be thinking, why is this going on for so long? It's completely different mindsets for these drivers. Freitas will be just thinking, how have I not got past into the podium places as Dilworth is dropping down the order along with Blackwell
Uh-oh.
again. So a second spin for Jake Blackwell, apologies, and was running in the top 3. Long way away from that now.
What's going to take place here? Oh, he tried. That accident happened about a few hundred metres away from where he actually ended up. And poor Jason Dilworth had no way of avoiding all of that when it took place. Let's go on board with him. He's going to be like, please, Jake, no. And eventually he does hit him. On board we go with the Nomad Sim Racing black car into Aquanim and Arali. Everything seems fine at this point. He's going to see Blackwell sliding. He's going to try, and then nothing he could do. He's now in 26th.
From elation of gaining a place to commiseration of losing several. Thank you then being overtaken by, is that Janssen? Oh, so something's happened to Janssen. He's dropped 2 places. Oh, sorry, no, I apologise. I'm getting confused with Janssen and Lockwood. Apologies. Janssen then moving up to top 10 now. So took him a little while to catch up to that little gaggle of cars. He got past Bibby a while back, to be fair, and has just been picking them off one by one. And well, how far up the field could he get? Maybe 2 more places, perhaps McFarlane and Tabone. That might be about it for him. Or the defending champion car number 1. Lockwood, meanwhile, what can he do? Could he get a podium still out of this? It would still be good points for Lockwood after a good race 1. I mean, it was a top 5. It could have been a win, but it's still very healthy points in comparison to the top drivers in the championship. So an opportunity for a couple of the midfield drivers to really get themselves back into championship contention today. And if even if Lockwood could only finish where he's running at the moment, that would still be really healthy for his charge. But these 4 drivers absolutely line astern. They're all catching up to one another. No one's got a stronger slipstream than one another, and Lockwood just cannot make the move. Side by side, almost by the drivers ahead. Lockwood tries to go around the outside. There's no room there, and he might even be vulnerable from the drivers behind. Here comes Freitas then, trying to get the power down. But he's not going to be close enough. Really got to be careful. Here's Lockwood from Christian Rose, but Rose far too experienced, far too wise to fall for that one, and just settles back in position.
Yeah, there was a little tiny tap, I think, by Freitas to the rear of Bunn going into the Tamburello chicane there. It almost unsettled both of them. Lockwood had to almost take evasive action onto the sausage curbs, and Andy Shields gone off at Villeneuve. He's come back on. He's in 22nd place, just rejoining ahead of the Year 1 Fury Simsport car there of James Eagleston. And they're all chasing down, it's not Richard Kafenko they're all trying to get by, it's Richard Warmingham they're trying to get by here. Here's the XVR Sim Racing car. He's in 18th place, and it's Ben Hackerson behind him in the Ferrari. And then it's the Radicals Online Turn Racing of Challoner, and off goes Warmingham. That will give them all their positions. Through goes the Ferrari, through goes the Porsche, and I think the the T-Mag car is going to go through as well. Indeed it is. So Chris Wood up another place as we go back to the scrap that's going on still for second place, as we've got 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, Lockwood got close last time to passing Freitas. Freitas had a much better slipstream on that last lap, but it's still Freitas. He's really storming along. Maybe Lockwood gaining a little bit in the second half of this straight, but it's negligible. Just edging a little bit closer, but probably the battle ahead is the closest one. Gregory having to defend again from Bunn. This is as close as Bunn. It's got for a few laps. Freitas off the circuit, and that's going to be a lot of places lost for him. He might even drop outside the top 10. Comes back, or tries to get back onto the circuit. He'll be slowing the slowdown at this point. You can see how slow he is currently driving. Will he stay ahead of Janssen? Janssen will not want to go side by side in that corner again. He's got bad memories of that. But maybe into this next hairpin, he'll be up for it. Around the outside, desperately trying to get the cut back is the Swede, and back into slipstream again. But from where he started, this would be a decent result for Carl Janssen. Started in 32nd place. A top 8 would be a great effort, but at the same time he sees all those drivers and he's thinking, I could really get a few of these guys, but I think he's going to be cut a couple of laps short.
You can also see that Brian Lockwood's through into the podium positions, as nearly into the back of Miguel Freitas. There goes Carl Janssen. He's arrived on that battle, and he's up the inside into the Variante Alta. That should be it done. It is done. And now it's Janssen into 7th place with Miguel Freitas down to 8th. Janssen 25 places gained. Lockwood, he's not wasting any time. Let's see if he can get 2nd place before we go back and see how he took 3rd off Bunn. Trying to set him up. Look at the engine. Look at the run that Bunn's got going into the Rivazza. Very nearly gets by the BMW, lights up the rear tyres on the exit, and that's really going to put him at a disadvantage. Here comes Christian Rose, and something's kicked off. Oh my word, there's a big wreck here. We'll find out what caused all that in a second, because they're too wide for position. Watch out for Brian Lockwood. Up the inside for 2nd place. He's got it. Through into 2nd place goes the Racecraft Esports car. Down to 3rd goes Ben Gregory. 4th is Christian Rose. 5th is Ben Palmer, who forces Matt Bunn out the way. Carl Janssen has been passed by Bunn, is now down to 7th place. He's going to go up the inside into Villeneuve. Oh, surely one trip through the gravel is bad enough, Carl. You don't want to do it again. There's a lot of dust on the circuit as well from the amount of times that cars have been off in that gravel trap too. And Janssen, now that he's got towards the front of the field, is seeing that a lot of the drivers are going to give as good as they get here, as the CQR P&M car with Lizard is trying to get up the inside into the Piratella, and he at last repasses Matt Bunn for 6th.
Yes, and now under pressure is Bunn into the very outer, and he holds on to it though. Struggling on the exits though. It's Bunn. The track temperature is so hot around this circuit. If you just slide the rear tyres in one corner, it can really wreck your grip for the next few laps, because there's no lets off for the tyres. Maybe you've got that pit straight, but apart from that, it's really a lot of load on these tyres. No lets off whatsoever. So Gregory didn't put too much of a fight against Lockwood going into turn 1 on this lap. And so Lockwood 2.5 seconds behind Baker, who's been absolutely cruising. And I must say, don't get too many predictions right, but with 1 lap to go, I feel as though I'm pretty confident on this one. Gregory under pressure though from Rose now all of a sudden. So Rose is now on a charge. He'll have to go to the outside into turn 1. We've seen some of these moves turn up superbly. We've seen some moves turn up miserably, as we've got an XVR driver as well, and that might be Mike Gray off the circuit. Rose still trying to line this one up. The XVR driver doing a good job staying off the circuit. Rose going to have to carry lots of speed around Villeneuve, but he's reluctant to put himself into an awkward position. This might be Rose's best result of the season, actually, up in 4th place, which is a little bit disappointing for him, I guess, because of course he finished 2nd last season, but struggled a little bit this season, but still would be some good points in this round.
Close battle here between Ross McFarlane and Miguel Freitas. They're all over the place going through the exit of Tamburello and into Villeneuve. Around the outside goes the V-Racer car. The Team Mag car is still alongside. Going down the hill into Aquina Minerali. And through goes Ross McFarlane into P8. It's still anybody's guess who's going to be on the podium. Ben Gregory is trying his utmost to just try and stay there. The lights are flashing by many of them. Can he just hold on for a couple more corners? Meanwhile, Dave Baker, who maybe if he coasted that last lap may have been the final lap for him, but this is definitely going to be the final lap. He's coming into Rivazza. Is there going to be a late move by Janssen? Not into Rivazza, there isn't. Dave Baker comes out of the final corner. He's going to take the win. The checker flag is at the ready. There it is. Dave Baker wins round 2 of the day in the World GT Championship. Brian Lockwood, 10 places gained, finishes in 2nd. Ben Gregory is just going to keep Christian Rose at bay to finish 4th. Carl Janssen, 27 places gained to finish in 5th. Top hand, by the way, Ben Gregory in 3rd. Then it's Matt Bunn, the 2nd highest dam, in 7th. And then the next highest dam after that is all the way down in 20th place. And he's only just coming across the line now. It's Chris Wood.
Yeah, they're all quite spread out in the end. We had 3 of them in the top 4, I believe, at the start, but they very quickly separated from one another side by side. Fletcher trying to get it at the line, he didn't. It's a while until you get to the checker flag there. Maybe this one will be a little bit closer. McIntyre going side by side with Rappriger. McIntyre though has got a better run in that Ford. It's in far fewer pieces, and the V-Racer driver does finish ahead.
Here's Ethan James Bass. He's been into the pits for a new car. He's going to finish in 42nd. That's not going to do him any good in terms of the reverse grid wheel for race 3. If we do get 24, it will be Jason Dilworth on the pole. If we get the smallest reverse grid possible, it will be Laszlo Kochok that will be on the pole position. He finished 2nd in race 1. If we do get that reverse grid in his favour, he'll be back at the front again. And as everybody finished, so let's bring up the race results. There we go. We've actually got the right class, the right intervals between them now, so that's good. Dave Baker wins for CQR Club. Brian Lockwood finishing in 2nd place in the end. Ben Gregory completes the podium, keeping a hard charging Christian Rose at bay as all the cars come back to the pits. Kai Janssen finishes in 5th. 27 places gains to finish in the top 5. Ben Palmer in 6th, Matt Bunn in 7th, Dennis Ross McFarlane, Miguel Freitas in 9th, and 10th for Brandon Tabone. Michael Evdoka finishing in P11, 12th for Lewis Bibby, then it's Pete Harrod, Laszlo Kochok in 14th, Keith Camilleri in 15th, and then it's Christian Scharner, Ben Hackison, Alpha Hauk finishing in 18th place in the end, 19th for Rich Warmingham, 20th for Chris Wood, Marco Namella, despite his spin at the start, finishing in 21st. That's a good drive, to be fair. In the reverse grid contention as well. Chris Daines in 22nd, Nicholas Helm 23rd, then Jason Dilworth in P24. Richard Gafenku 25th, 26th for Daniel McCauley, then Simon Underhill, Michael Blake, Billy Fletcher, Chaz Draycott there in 30th, Danny Henney 31st, then it's Barry Baird in 32nd, Mark Woodhouse, Dennis Eipenberg, then James Eagleston, and then Jack McIntyre in 36th. Then it's Edward Rappager, Steve Baxter over a minute behind. Then it's Ashley Blake Cood, Andy Scheel, Pete Newman, and then Ethan Bass in 42nd. And then the cars 1 lap down or more. Mike Gray, we saw him getting laps as the race neared its conclusion. And then the cars that didn't finish, Jerome Kaiser 4 laps down, Jake Blackhall. It looked like it picked up too much damage after. It was a second crash, wasn't it? That would have put pay to his race. That was on the exit of Aquinum and Arali. Ronald Moons 46th. 13 laps down, Rob Cuss 13 laps down as well, and they finished at the back. Right then, final reverse grid of the evening. Let's get it up and see who is going to be on the pole. There it is, here it is on the screen. And without further ado, let's spin it. It's very nearly 16 then. It's going to be 22. Sam, who's that going to be on the pole for the final race?
That'll be Chris Daines on the pole position. He'll be alongside Marco Namella on the front row of the grid. He got involved in a bit of a crash, didn't he, actually, in that race? So he dropped right to the back, got back up into 21st position, and that's his reward. Chris Wood and Richard Warming will be forming the second row of the grid for race 3. And also Arthur Lehook, shout out to him. He gained 28 places in that race too, and he'll start in 5th place. So perhaps he'll be one of the favourites for that one.
Yeah, looking forward to this final race. A possible chance of redemption for Lehouk after that mess down at Villeneuve, which he was involved with in race 1. We're going to take a quick break then on the iRacing Esports Network. When we come back, we'll be getting set for the final race of the day at Imola in the World GT Championship. See you in a minute.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
We're back and we're on the grid. Well, we're getting set anyway for the final race of the day in the World GT Championship here at Imola. Chris Dane starting on the pole with Marco Namella in second. Arthur Lehauk starting in fifth. And quite a few guys near the front of the grid as well. It is still a pretty big reverse grid. 22 cars have been reversed. Adam Bath here with Sam Fitzpatrick in the commentary box. And as the grid cycles through, we've got a lot of names in the top 22 that could theoretically win this race. We've got Namella, we've got Arthur Lehauk, who will be hoping to right the wrongs of race 1, plus the likes of Carl Janssen and Brian Lockwood, of course, who finished second in race 2.
Yeah, and I'd also throw in maybe Challoner, Camillet, Kotchuk's as well. Kotchuk's, of course, finished in second place in race 1. Avdoka, of course, won race 1. He's starting down in 12th place. So, yeah, so many drivers. And unfortunately, we got the vast majority. I imagine there's a couple of slower drivers. A couple of fast drivers right at the back of the field. But we got the majority of them all littered about in that top 20 or so. So this is a perfect situation to be in. And Chris Dane's got involved in a little bit of contact in race 2. He'll be wanting to avoid that, of course. But again, a fantastic opportunity for him to take a race victory. I think he may have won a race already this season, or at least was leading at Brands Hatch. Can he convert this pole position today?
So in C then, Dane's lead goes straight away. That's the earliest we've seen anybody go. And he is going to have, just like everybody else that started on pole position so far tonight, a pretty healthy lead as he comes across the line. We are underway at Imola for the final race of the day. The lights go green and we are underway. And straight away, Keith Camilleri trying to get a move done. Watch out for Arthur Lehauk as well, the Frenchman on the inside there, the XVR car, Richard Warmingham. It looks like he's going to get a move done as Keith Camilleri rides the curb on the exit at Tamburello. Let's hope everybody gets through, because so far tonight we haven't. And off goes one of the KC cars. 2 of the KC cars have gone off. Sorry, Nicholas Helmer's got off as well. He's had to tow back to the pits. He's hit the concrete wall. There's no way he's recovering from that. Either that or he's just had enough for the day. Watch out for the Brits Sim Sport car here of Ethan James Bass. He's got his teammate leading the race so far. There's more wrecking. That's another one. Oh no, that's a traffic jam. Oh, there's a Team Mad car off as well. We've got James Eaglestone, we've got Michael Blake, we have got Danny Henney, Dan McCauley. Quite a lot of cars off.
Yeah, Simon Underhill involved in that one. He was, I assume that the Nomad car, he got involved. Side by side for, or was that side by side? Maybe just slotting back into position. Apologies. Fight amongst 5th place. Challoner dropping down the order. A couple of drivers really off the circuit. There you go. They're having to miss the chicane. Maybe a slow driver there blocking the chicane. They all had to miss it. From the drivers from about 8th down to 12th. And that's going to be a big slowdown on this opening lap. So disappointing for those. Freitas are going to be painfully slowed down that pit straight. So too is maybe Avdoka maybe got involved in that one. He's really slow. He's trying to hold up the rest of the field. Not to lose too many positions. We've got more drivers around, a couple of CQR drivers making contact with one another. It was one of the CQR BMWs. And this is 3 wide on the second lap, off into the wall. That's Ross McFarlane, who hasn't had the best day, got caught up in a crash in race 1. And it's happened to him again in this. And really got chaotic in the second half of that first lap.
And he's got to do a full lap before he can get back to the pits. What a nightmare start for him. Here the position gains at the end of the opening lap. Then it's Chris Dane's lead. It's not Eric Namella. That's Eric Lemella. Marco Namella in second place. Then it's Arthur Lehauk in third. Then it's Chris Wood fourth. Fifth is Richard Warmingham. Then it's Ben Hackerson, Keith Camilleri, Kotrox, Evdoka, and Janssen running out the top 10. 8 places gained already for Carl Janssen. And Brian Lockwood's gained 1 from 21st on the grid. So slow and steady and all that. We'll see how he gets on over the course of the race meeting. But for now, it's the turn of the Brittech SimSport car of Danes to feel some early pressure for Marco Namella. Watch out for Arthur Lehauk as well. When he was sitting in third in race 1, when Carl Janssen started battling away with Brian Lockwood, he was quick to capitalise and got second place. All of a sudden, in the space of about the last few corners, he's right on the back of the Racecraft Esports car now and may think of a move down into Ravazza. No, he doesn't. He might fancy his chances if he can get a decent run onto the front straight.
Yeah, he has. He managed to get the move on Janssen in race 1, of course, when Janssen tried to go for a move for the lead around the outside at turn 1. The Hook will be hoping that Namella tries the same thing. Of course, we had a Racecraft Esports driver of Lockwood finishing in second place in race 2. We're going to see the same in race 3. Nomelo tries to go for it. They make contact though with one another, and straight through goes Arthur LeHuc. When he gained one place in that corner in race 1, he's gained 2 places. He's into the lead, and this could be quite a comfortable race victory from here on in. Arthur LeHuc, and he just had to wait for that to happen, and it's come towards him.
Oh, not at all good there. Something has kicked off massively as well while that was all taking place. 3-car wreck apparently between Mark Woodhouse, Steve Baxter and Mark Woodhouse. This is down at Ravazza. Let's have a look at what happened here. Woodhouse up the inside. And, oh, loads of cars taking evasive action. And a lot of cars picking up damage in all that. But let's have a look at what happened then for the lead. Let's get to the chopper and see how this all unfolded. So the help breaks out. Oh, bang. Dane's locking up the brakes. He's trying everything to try and slow it down, but he just can't. And in the end, he gets going. He's in 3rd place, which is a miracle in itself, really. Lahauk has got a 2.9 second advantage. Rob Cuss has just towed. Brian Lockwood has just towed to the pits. So Brian Lockwood, his race is run, and I think he's done for the session as well. Let's have a look at what happened. He'd only gained 1 spot at the beginning of race 3. This is the exit of Piratella. This is going down to Aquina Minerali. Is he going to try and get up the inside into there? No. Oh, is he going to touch the grass? No. Oh dear, no. Oh, really? When it's and he gets mangled he's mangled in the barrier, which is somehow possible, but it's not. Yeah, that is how his race fell by the wayside.
I think that was Dave Baker who was spinning into him. Not 100% sure, but I think that would add up. I think they were just behind Ben Gregory at the time. So it was looking like Lockwood was by far the biggest point scorer from the first 2 races. A 5th place and a 2nd place. Not in this race 3 though. Here comes Moons losing out to one of the Nomad cars. Apologies, not quite sure who that was. Simon Underhill. Apologies, he got involved in that first lap crash, I believe. But not too much damage on that car, so he's still got some good pace. Pete Howard, he's been in the mix today. Some decent results, I believe, for Howard so far, and he's up there in 12th place once again. I think he's had all top 20 finishes, which is a really good points haul for him.
Whoa.
Under big pressure, though, from the KC Motorsports driver behind Brandon Tabone, and with Miguel Freitas and Ben Palmer, Christian Challoner, all behind. Also Billy Fletcher, good to see him out there for the first time, I think, this evening. Some very quick drivers queuing up.
Fantastic scrap going on here for 12th place. It is pretty close as well, as you can see in the fight for second. Just 4/10 of a second behind Chris Wood's Danes. So it's the battle of the Chris's. Watch out for Ben Hackerson as well. He's in that Ferrari, which has got that straight line speed. Let's see what it is when it's like when it's up against a BMW here. The Radicals Online Motaf car, which was leading the team's championship going into this one. Danes, you've already gone onto that Tamburello gravel once in this 3rd race. You don't want to do it again. And he very nearly gets tapped in the back by Ben Hackerson. Maybe the slightest touch. Watch out for Keith Camilleri. Here he is. He's alongside going into Villeneuve. Somehow there's room, and a fantastic move around the outside by the KC Racing Esports car up into 4th place.
Yeah, that was mega impressive. On the inside, often the outside is actually the better line as long as you're ahead going into the corner, but was really deep into the first left-hander, and managed to, in the end, buns it all up. Good respect, though, from the driver behind through all of that. So Camilleri can set its sights now on Chris Dane, so a podium still very possible for him, side by side for Palmer, who's had to make a lot of moves up today. Hasn't been the perfect day for Ben Palmer, but still some one of his best rounds of the season, I think, and he's up into 14th place ahead of Miguel Freitas.
Christian Challoner in there for good measure too, and he's got a decent run on the exit of Aquina Minerali up towards the Variante Alta. Let's see if he can get a move done there. It's a very good late break in there by Freitas to keep the BMW ahead. Let's fly off the road to the exit of Ravazza, because here they are again. Chris Wood onto the front straight. Team Mad as a 4/10 of a second advantage again over Chris Danes, who is definitely now under pressure from Keith Camilleri, the Maltese driver, aiming to try and dethrone Danes from the final spot on the podium. Let's see if he can. He's up the inside, potentially into the... Oh, wow, what a move. Nearly, wow. I thought he wasn't going to make the corner then, Chris Danes, as he got on the brakes. And he very nearly was in second place when it looked like he was going to be losing it.
I mean, I don't think that was a deliberate move, but it was almost absolutely superb, as he was saying. But Danes settles back into third place. No doubt that he's faster than Chris Wood. But Wood there, really early on the brakes going into turn one. He's probably feeling the pressure quite a bit. This would be maybe his first podium ever in this series, I'm not quite sure. And it's realistic that he could hang on to it, even though we've got quite a long way to go in this race. But the drivers are really starting to keep behind. Namella, of course, involved in this one now, warming him at hot chucks, and Janssen all getting involved.
Danes makes the error on the exit, Piratella, and through goes Danes into second place. Oh, he in turn makes a little bit of a mistake on the exit, Aquinum and Arali. This is now going to allow Chris Wood the opportunity to try and take that second place back into the Variante Alto, and this is just bunching things up even more. Camilleri trying to get by. That's just going to exasperate things, because now here comes Ben Hackerson in the Radicals Online car, trying to get one of those positions back. Could he try and get it done into Ravazza? Wood on the left-hand side of your picture as we rise on boards with the Ferrari. Ben Hackerson just doesn't know where to go in all this. He's going to follow the Ferrari, and Chris Wood will be very lucky if he is still in that fourth position by the time we get to the Tamburello. Watch out for Marco Namella as well as we come across the line onto lap 7. Onto the bridge we go, and it's going to be Camilleri that is now in third place. Hackerson up to fourth. Chris Wood in fifth. He's going to get demoted to sixth. The slightest touch, that might have been a bit of contact, not too sure it was that close. And Chris Wood gets muscled out all the way down to 10th now.
I don't think Wood made too many mistakes. I know you made one mistake. Oh, off the circuit goes Hackerson. He was a little bit quiet in all of that, but he was very steadily going about his ways. But the car number 7 falls way down the order. He's down into 16th place. At least might even fall further than that behind. And this happens. So he managed to get past Wood. And I believe he was by himself going into the Villeneuve chicane. Is it the rear end which goes? Ooh. Yes, and I mean he'll be. I mean I don't think he did too much wrong, to be honest there, but the rear end just all of a sudden giving up grip. There's a decent amount of grip out there. The track temperature is significantly cooler. It's decreased by about 20 degrees from race 2 down to 24 degrees now, but very surprising mistake there.
Looking at Doka Game Pass, Rich Warmingham is up into 7th place now. 5 places gained for him. Biggest mover in the field is Andy Scheel, who's gained 21 places since we got going. Here he is, the Sim Sports Racing USA car in P19. If there was a 4th race, he'd be looking all right for a starting spot near the front of the grid if we had another reverse grid wheel up our sleeve, but we don't. And as we enter the second half of the race, it is Arthur Lahal that has a 9.1 second advantage, but who is going to be in 4th place? Is it going to be Janssen? Is it going to be Namella? Into the Tamburello chicane. Not a quarter given by Namella. He flies across the curb. Janssen is now going to try and get up the inside. Into Villeneuve. He's going to think about it. And watch out for the Porsche as well. That's Laszlo Kotrox, who is arriving on the scene. They all go off. We come back on again and see what's going to happen here as we ride on board with the Radicals Online Turn Racing car. Look at the switchback there by Janssen on the exit of Tosa, but he's just not able to get it done.
Yeah, must be so frustrated. Carl Janssen, really good drive through the field in race 2. This is a good drive through the field. He goes down the inside, can't make it, and here comes Kotrox. This would be great from Kotrox. He's not interested in making the move, I think. But he realised that he's already been overtaken by Janssen, of course, so he doesn't feel like being overtaken by him again. So we'll just hope that these two make a collision, which is not off the cards, off the table by any means. They've got Evdotka right on their tail as well. Warmingham just makes a bit of a mistake, I think, because Bibby's just got past him. So maybe a little bit of a slowdown for him. As once again, Janssen this time with a much better line. I think he's going to have this one down into the final couple of corners, which will be great from the racecraft driver on the outside to keep him there. But backs out a bit wisely.
And at the same time, it's wheel to wheel between Chris Danes and Keith Camilleri. It was Danes that just edged out the Ferrari there over the timing line. But it looks like it's going to be the KC Racing Esports car that's going to get second place into the Tamburello chicane. Up the inside goes the Ferrari, and through goes Keith into second. Danes down to third. Next up is Carl Janssen, who is 1.4 seconds away. But now that he's by, I don't know what's going on there as they
I don't know what they were doing.
trying various lines there. Oh, Andy Shield, he could be about to gain even more positions. He's trying to get by Dave Baker, the race 2 winner, through the Tamburello. The Ferrari set to line up the Porsche. Billy Fletcher and Pete Howard very close. You can see that just at the top of the picture there as they went through Villeneuve. Now here come these guys. And a great run by Shield on the exit. Is he going to try into Tosa? This is where I rammed Dave. Oh no, Bob! He's done what I've done. And he's hit Dave Baker. And through goes Barry Baird in a Nomad Sim Racing white car. He might try and get past Dave Baker as well. As they go over the top of the hill and into the Piratella. Does the BMW fancy it? He's going to risk it. Very close there. And it's going to be wheel to wheel into Aqua Minerale. It's usually the inside line that prevails here. They're just about giving each other enough room to go wheel to wheel there, and eventually they reach a resolution, but it's not over yet. Here comes the Andy Shield Ferrari again. He's not able to get by. Oh dear, he's going to be a massive disadvantage there, Barry Baird, and through goes Shield into 19th place.
Yeah, just waited a couple more corners there to Shield so he could make the move. And Baird having to defend from all these drivers behind as well now. Pete Newman right on his tail. Jack McIntyre's up 14 places. Newman up 20 places. Superb track from him. Mike Gray up 20 places. Also Ethan Bass at the back of this tray up 18 places. So some terrific driving from some of these guys who started right at the back, had issues in race 2. But they've certainly redeemed themselves in this final race of the evening. Final sprint race for a few weeks, of course, because we've got next week as an endurance race at Monza, and then we've got a week off, and so these drivers will have to make absolutely everything out of these short 20-minute races.
Carl Janssen then, he was 1.4 seconds away from Danes about a lap ago. It's literally nothing now. Through Aqua Minerale, Namella is getting pulled along with these guys. Janssen, he senses the podium. He may even fancy second place. He's only 1.8 seconds away from Keith Camilleri, but Chris Daines is putting up such a good defensive drive. If he gets a podium here, that'll be a fantastic result for him and for Bricktech Simsport. But Janssen, here he comes around the outside into Rivazza. That's going to be interesting. We can pull that off because there's nothing but grass and gravel out there on the outside. Daines hits his marks beautifully. Oh, that was Namella hitting Janssen through the final corner. And back onto the front straight they go. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 car scrap for the final spot on the podium.
3 laps to go, so plenty of time for Janssen. You certainly feel as though he's the favourite to eventually make this move, but Daines, as you were saying, absolutely driving awesomely. Here comes Janssen. This move didn't work in race 1. It's worked in race 3 though, as Daines gets spun round. And also into the wall goes Kotrox.
Oh no, yeah, it's Laszlo. The Radicals Online Turn Racing car. He's got going again. Fortunately for him, there's such a big field spread that these guys aren't going to lose too many positions out of all this. Hopefully Chris Daines' car is pointing in the right direction. It's... oh, well...
he can limp it round, I guess.
Yeah, there isn't long left. There's only a few minutes. Here's a replay of what happened. Oh, this is something else. But this still looks pretty interesting anyway, so let's take a look. Whoa! That's one of the quickest paces on the circuit to have an incident. Oh, dear me. And that's Simon Underhill's race well and truly over. Let's have a look at how Laszlo Kotrox got involved in this. Here's the replay. Namella. Oh, and Kotrox got taps around by the Ferrari, which I'm guessing was Michael Evdoka. Yes, it was. So Evdoka now up into 4th, Janssen up into 3rd. He is now 2.9 seconds away from Keith Camilleri in 2nd, which is probably a bit too far away for him to get close to by the time we get to the end, but I'll believe it when I see it. And this leaves us now with a good battle between Brandon Tabone and Christian Schalliner with just under 2 minutes to go.
day could have gone much worse for Christian Challoner. It wasn't a very good race 1 for him, but he recovered well in race 2. I think he got a top 10 there, and he might still get a top 10 in this race 3. As Ben Gregory, he got a top 3 in race 2. He's not having the best time of it at the moment. He's in 31st position at the moment with Eagleston there in 34th, and this is how their instant okay.
Yeah, let's have a look and see what happens here. Chris Daines has come into the pits. So oh, well, that's the Ferrari of Gregory going into the back of him. What happened to Richard Kofenko? Something happened for him just before. Here is the Romanian going down into Aquinum and Arali. Oh, well, that unsettles the car right from the get-go. He manages to just about unlock it. He clatters into, clatters into 2 cars. That was the 58 of Pete Newman that he hit, and one of the Year 1 Fury Simsport cars as well. So that is all what transpired for Richard Kofenko. We're back to live pictures now and looking at a decent scrap between Hackison, Harrod and the recovering Kotrox as the race leader Alfa Lahalk is coming through the final corner onto the front straight to start his final lap.
Yep, 13 laps in all of these races, and this is going to be one of the quicker ones as well, because Lahook has been absolutely unchallenged. He's got a 14-second lead, so absolute domination for him. We did say when he took the lead, this could turn quite simple for him, and that is how it has transpired. Still could be a change of position here though for Howard, of course, with Hackison just ahead of him. All these drivers have gained a few places from their starts. They all had very good starting places from their race 2 results. It'd still be good points. Hackison down 8, Howard down 5, and Kotrox down 7, and they're a long way clear of Dave Baker as well behind. Billy Fletcher, by the way, I haven't talked too much about him, but he's been quite quiet today. But he's up in 12th place. There's Nomela's had another off.
Oh no! And he was
doesn't like that corner.
Oh no! It was Tamburello again, and I'm intrigued to see what happens here. This is the Team Ad car in front. Is something going to take place here? Clobbered the sausage curb, or sausage curbs, and either the car's damaged beyond repair, or he's just had enough of it. One of the two. Meanwhile, Alfa Lahalk, he's on his way into the final corner now. He started down in 5th. He's been able to gain all those places, and he's going to come home and take probably one of the most commanding victories we've seen so far this season. 14.9 seconds ahead of Keith Camilleri in 2nd. Alfa Lahalk wins the final race of the day in the World GT Championship here at Imola. Keith Camilleri is going to come home in 2nd place, and it's going to be Carl Janssen that comes home to complete the podium in 3rd. Christian Challoner versus Chris Wood. To the line here, drag race. Porsche versus BMW. It looks like it's going to be Chris Wood that is going to win the Pro-Am category by 22 thousandths of a second. Very close between those two at the line. Where is the next Pro-Am driver, you ask? I think it's Jack McIntyre. Here he is. He's in 19th. And the V-Racer Ford is just going to come home behind Andy Shield. And behind these guys is Mike Gray, who is gone about his business pretty well and is going to come home as the biggest mover in the field in race 3. 23 positions gained for the XVR Sim Racer driver. Very good driving there by Mike Gray. We didn't really see much of it, I'm afraid. Here comes Danny Henney, I should say, to come home in 26th place. Next close battle is here. This is Steve Baxter versus Matt Bunn. Just a couple of tenths of a second between them, and the last car we are waiting for is here. It's Christian Rose. He's in 36th. For a second I thought he wasn't going to make it across the line. He does now. He finishes in 36th place, 17 positions lower than where he started, and you can see there from the 46 or so starters, only 36 were able to finish on the lead lap here. What a result though for TX3 and by Thrustmaster. Sam, 14.9 second lead in the end for Alfa Lahalk. Outside the Enduro races, you aren't going to see a win by that big of a margin too often this season.
yeah, even in the endurance races, you're probably not going to see something like that. But really good from LeHook, and I mean, those two drivers in the first race, it was LeHook and Janssen and Lockwood, wasn't it, who all crashed into one another. I mean, no one was fully to blame on that one, and they all kind of got their redemption in the end. I think Janssen had got a podium, LeHook got a win, and Lockwood also got a 5th and a 2nd place. So they all got their little bit of a punishment, but they all got their good results as well. So that was good to see, and a perfect drive from Arta, who maybe keeps his championship hopes alive as well.
Okay, well, let's run you through the finishing order from the final race of the day. After the Hout wins for Thrustmaster, TX3 by Thrustmaster. 2nd place finish for Keith Camilleri. Carl Janssen on the podium again here. Michael Avdoka finishes in 4th. 5th for Lewis Bibby, his teammate. Then in 6th place, Richard Warmingham. Then Chris Wood, the only Pro-Am driver in the top 18. Christian Challenor in 8th. Then Brandon Tabone in 9th. And the Portuguese Miguel Freitas in 10th. 11th for Ben Palmer. Then Billy Fletcher and Ben Hackerson, the two teammates there, 12th and 13th. Pete Harrod 14th, then Laszlo Kotrox in 15th. Dave Baker 16th place in the end for him. Barry Baird 17th, Andy Shield in 18th. And then here come the Pro-Am drivers. There's a big cluster of them. 19th for Jack McIntyre, 20th for Mike Gray, then Ethan Bass in 21st, Richard Gafenku in 22nd. Ronald Moons there in 23rd place, 24th for Mark Woodhouse. Over a minute behind in the end, Michael Blake in the Simmortals Small Time car. Danny Henney in 26th, then Edward Rappager in 27th, then Jerome Kaiser, Ross McFarlane. On the receiving end of a massive shunt earlier, I was able to get home in 29th. Then Ben Gregory in 30th, 31st for Jason Dilworth, then Pete Newman, Ashley Blakehood, Matt Bunn in 34th, and then Steve Baxter 35th, 36th in the end for Christian Rose, the last car to finish on the lead lap. And then the cars had issues during the race. Marco Namella 1 lap down. The Finn coming to grief near the end with a sausage curb at Tamburello. Then after that, it's Nicholas Helm, Chris Daines in 39th, then James Eagleston, Simon Underhill, Chaz Draycott, Dennis Eibenberg, Dan McCauley in 44th, Brian Lockwood in 45th. Not the best race meeting for him. He had the crash in race 1, but he was able to survive. Race 2, he finished in 2nd, and then here DNF in race 3. And then Rob Cuss, 11 laps down in 46th place. We have Chaz Draycott waiting for to do an interview with us. In the interview waiting area, he's had according to us, he's had a quiet night, but it's not a quiet night for anybody in the World GT Championship. In race 3, he finished 42nd, 9 laps down. Let's get him in here for a quick word. Of course, he makes the trailer as well, as you would have seen at the beginning of the broadcast. But that isn't his only talent. He's pretty good behind the wheel as well. But what happened in race? What happened in race 3, Chaz? Because he finished 9 laps down.
I was trying to help out my wonderful teammate, Mr. Shield. We were going into the double left-hand at the bottom of the hill, and I knew that he was absolutely flying through, and he made it about 20-odd places in that one. So I got out of the way, and I think another driver behind, I think Woodhouse it was, he just lost the back end as well, and we all checked up because Andy went a little bit deep. So I think just in that, it got a bit messy, and a couple of us just came together, and I tried to carry on after that. I saw Ashley Blakehood on track as well. We were going to have a good bit of a scrap, but then I just disconnected because my internet's terrible. It's always the way.
Yeah, when it does, when it rains, it pours, I think, in that one. But race 1 and race 2, we were saying one of the toughest circuits we're going to go to all season in terms of overtaking, just because of how narrow the circuit was. How was it the other 2 races?
It's almost impossible to overtake around here. It's mayhem, and the pace, I mean, to give a shout out to the guys even in the midfield and towards the back, the pace throughout the whole field is so close this season. It's amazing. The battling was incredible. It was quite physical, but a lot of the time it wasn't to the point where, people weren't annihilating each other. They were just sort of having a bit of a door bang, and yeah, it was very, very frantic, but yeah, it was just insane.
Did you see what happened between the top three in race one?
I did not know. I heard about it because we were having a bit of a chat afterwards, but I didn't look back and see that. Was it a nasty one?
Well, 3 wide into Villeneuve, going for the lead.
You've got to be mad.
They
Some of
did
these
it.
boys are.
Yeah.
They are mad.
Well, we go from here to the Cathedral of Speed next week, still in Italy, of course, for the Enduro at Monza. That's gonna be pretty interesting. But as Sam Fitzpatrick was alluding to, it's a bit like when the McLaren used to come here in the World Championship. It's a bit like a DRS train. It's going to be a bit of a slipstream train around Monza when the race gets going there for the Enduro.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of mind games in there. People are going to be saving fuel, slipstreaming, and then, like you say, just making sure that you can sort of take it easy in a way. I mean, I know these guys will be flat out because some of these pro drivers are unbelievable, but they'll be trying to get into the heads of the guys in front, just following them, just trying to sort of identify your opportunities, and then you just got to try and play a bit of strategy into it, I suppose. But I go quite well around Monza. I always say to myself that I'm going to hate going there because it's so setup dependent. But I seem to go all right down there. I did all right in pre-qualifying for the season, so yeah, fingers crossed, should do right.
Finally, we got, of course, you make the trailer for this series, and just taking you out of the car for a second, what have you made of the action that we've had so far? And anything that's worthy of going in a trailer for season 7, perhaps?
Oh, there's plenty of footage ready to go already. There's so much close battling, and I mean, I've been looking at. I mean, you've probably seen from the intros and the trailers the stuff I like is the frantic sort of first lap stuff where there's just a massive train of cars, humongous fields, just all absolutely flat out. There's a wonderful shot at the end of the trailer through 130R.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. It's probably one of my favourite bits of footage I've ever captured. But this season is just full of shots like that. There's just so many little bits where there's just cars absolutely flat out, all 50, 60 of them. And it's great to see. So hopefully it continues the rest of the season.
Great. Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yeah, all the guys in CQR, all the support they've given me since joining them has been absolutely brilliant. The admins of the series constantly working around the clock. I'm probably one of the lazy ones, so I do apologise to them for that. And some of the guys I was racing against tonight, I had some great battles with most of them. Mark Woodhouse has just said sorry to me on Facebook for spinning into me earlier. It's all right, buddy. We all make mistakes, and it was a very simple one that I've probably made too many times. And you guys as well for the broadcast as always. It's great to see it. I'm a bit gutted at this point to have stepped away from commentary for a bit, but might be back at some point.
Oh, okay. Watch this space then, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, Charles, great for you to step into the interview room. We haven't spoken to you for quite a while, as you said, and yeah, well done on your endeavours today, and hopefully better things to come next week in the Enduro at Monza.
Yeah, fingers crossed, boys. Nice one. Have a good night, everyone.
Cheers, Charles.
Cheers.
Off he goes to the interview room. Next into the booth is Dave Baker. I say that. Here he is. And he's chatting away to Sam Fitzpatrick on his win in race 2 and among other things.
Yes, I must congratulate you there, Dave. That was textbook stuff. Deliberately dropped to 16th place in race 1. Give us a bribe to give you a 16-car burst grid and dominate race 2. I mean, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that was all part of the plan, honestly. No, I got very lucky in race 2, actually, that there was obviously quite a fierce battle going on for P2, which allowed me to just kind of manage the gap, win at the slowest speed possible, because the Porsche was not really the car to be in round here tonight. It was very, very tough, but no, pleased to get the win. Luck of the reverse grid, but it was a tough one.
Definitely, and it seemed like pretty much everyone had a bad race today. There are very few drivers who finished kind of in the top 20 or so every single race, but you managed to do that, so you must be really pleased for the championship, because you're going to be getting some places.
Yeah, probably. Unfortunately, I did have some contact with Nicholas on race 3 coming out of the first chicane, and I think that's probably on me. I'll be looking at some penalty points, no doubt, but hopefully they won't impact too much.
No, I think there might be a few others as well, getting the equal amounts or even more out there today. But next up, we head to Monza, the second endurance race of the season. Judging by Belal and the previous endurance races in World GT, would you say that they're your favourites, or do you prefer the sprint layout?
I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I do a lot of sprint sort of style racing in all the leagues that you guys cover. You know me for that. I always enjoy the challenge of taking on an endurance. Though an endurance race around Monza in the Porsche might be something different. I think you'll probably see us, unfortunately, towards the back, as it's not this car's strongest track. But we'll give it a good go. We'll still turn up. Yeah, we'll just see how it pans out. Really, maybe try and play the strategy a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Dave. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd just like to thank everybody that turns out, that races, you guys putting on the broadcast, all the admins and the stewards that help us behind the scenes, getting things done, the guys in chat, as the race goes on. I hope they've had an enjoyable evening. I'm sure there's been some crashes for them to comment on and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, just thanks to everybody, really.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Dave, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, take care, guys.
Dave Baker, I know you viewers can't see this. He has a big affinity with the number 6. It's on his car, and he's also got it on his avatar here on the Discord. So he does love it. Right, moving on. We've got one more driver to chat to us before we crash off the air, and it is Ben Gregory. He's had a bit of an interesting evening, to say the very least. Had a fantastic race 2 as well, I believe. Did you get a podium in the end there, Ben? It was pretty close, wasn't it?
Just about. The skin of my teeth, yeah.
Well, yeah, race 2 obviously the highlight, but yeah, tell us about your race meeting in general.
I came in with, I'll be honest, my team didn't actually expect me to race because I screwed my back up last night. So luckily, it's been okay for the rest of the day. So somehow the car felt fantastic, which is thanks to Michael putting, grazie ragazzi, it's great. Ferrari at Imola. Got decent few podiums out of it. So yeah, apart from race 3 being a bit messy, it was, I'm quite happy.
Yeah, with it being pretty narrow, were you having to use a Ferrari straight line speed to both defend and try and get a slipstream move done before getting into Tamburello?
It's the thing is, it wasn't actually as quick as we thought we would be in the straight line. Especially the BMWs were so fast at that final corner. It was, and the draft, I don't know if there's a headwind down the main straight. They were just sucking straight up to the back of you by the end of the straight. So the straight line advantage wasn't actually that strong, annoyingly. But yeah, the cars could ride the curbs really well. It felt good. And just honestly, I'm just happy I was able to hold on against some really quick drivers behind me.
In terms of the Pro-Am points, you have gained quite a bit, it looks like, over the race meet. You're only 119 points off Chris Wood. Is the top of the table still achievable in your eyes as we head to the next Enduro?
Well, it's only meeting 5. We've got 10 to go.
Yeah.
And with a couple of drop weeks potentially, maybe, if I keep this pace up. Monza should be good. I might be expecting a penalty from this race just because of what happened on the last couple of laps. But yeah, hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, it should be a good one though, at least. Monza's going to be good. With the testing where everyone did it, with qualifying, I think it's going to be the most competitive track of the season, I think.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Before we let you go then, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yeah, especially all the team, and all the guys at V-Race as well we've been running with. They've been absolutely fantastic to have as almost like just buddying up and just helping each other. All the sponsors, and Jack for letting us run this as well, and you guys for broadcasting it. Been watching it back, been good.
Cheers. I think you covered every base there. So well done today, Ben, and especially on the podium in race 2, and hopefully everything goes okay next week at Monza. I hope the back gets okay as well.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm just going to hope I can get to the end. not put it in a wall like I did at Detroit.
Brilliant. Cheers, Ben. See you in a bit.
Thank you.
Right then, final word from Sam Fitzpatrick then. Imola ticked off. I think we said at the beginning of the broadcast that we were expecting plenty of overtaking here, but I think what we saw at the end of this broadcast today was that Imola is just as difficult to overtake in GT cars with a lot of tow as it was in the days when Formula One used to come here.
Yes, and right, we've got the twisty circuits out of the way. We had Brands Hatch, we had Snetterton, Belle Isle, Zolder, and Imola, all quite tight twisty circuits. Then we've got Monza coming up, so the complete opposite. So the first kind of big circuit that we're going to go to all season long. So that will be a welcome relief, even though these first 5 races have been absolutely thrilling, and I think out of the 13 races we've done, I think we've had at least 10 different winners. I think we may have even had 12 different winners. Quite incredible. Also, just looking at the championship points, admins, thank you very much. They get on the job very quickly. Mark Fletcher's still leading the way. I think this takes into consideration the drop weeks, perhaps. I think it does. And Fletcher is leading the way with 444. Christian Chalanet is in second with 418. Michael Ovdoka gained 6 places with 417. Then it's Thibaut Cazorban 394, Camille 390, Kotchuk's 388, Janssen 379. Remember, he's the defending champion down in 7th place. And I mean, it's so close out of the top 10, the top probably 10 drivers, top 12 drivers separated by 100 points, which is absolutely tiny. And then the championship is very close as well. So the first third of this season has been absolutely fantastic. And I mean, it's going to be so close for that championship all the way down to round 15 in a few months' time.
Just looking at the team standings as well, it's remarkably close there. KC Racing Esports, shout out to them because they're leading the team standings by 82 points over TechSense Fitstar Motorsport. And then it's Radicals Online Turn Racing, then Radicals Online Motor, CQR Club, and then TX3 by Thrustmaster, with Team Maz continuing to lead the way in the Pro-Am Teams Championship. Right then, we are just about out of time here, as you can see by the replay animate the graphic on the top left. We've been booted out of the server. We've been in here this long. Join us next week then, 26th of August, Bank Holiday Monday, for the second enduro race of the season at Monza. After that, we'll be on a week's break while we're at the Sim Racing Expo in Germany. And then it's the Spa Endurance layout for 3 20-minute sprint races there. Then Twin Rim Motegi, Kota, Silverstone, Road America Bend, Okayama, Watkins Glen, Montreal and Laguna Seca, just to quickly run you through the rest of the calendar as we continue onwards in Season 6 of the World GT Championship. My thanks to Sam for spending his evening with me on the Imola in the World GT Championship. Been a pleasure as always. And we'll be back on the iRacing Esports Network same time next week for the Cathedral of Speed, that is Monza. So from all of us here at Apex Racing TV on the iRacing Esports Network, bye for now.